As a visionary and business owner, you are going to be going to meetings and probably a decent amount of them. And if you're like me, well, listening and taking notes at the same time really doesn't work. So, in today's Morning for Visionaries, we're going over my real one tip and the only thing that's really ever worked for me on how to, well, get notes while listening to somebody at the same time. Now, the big important thing is that I try to take myself out of this equation. I do take some notes. Here's, for example, some quick notes I took for a client meeting. I wrote down the bits that I could. And that's as far as I get. And these notes really aren't too useful. They're useful, but don't get too far with them. And I can only remember so much, especially if it's been a few days since I've looked at these notes. I did say one thing, there's kind of sort of two, but the whole idea is I remove myself from the equation. The best thing you can do is record this meeting. If it's online, then it's super easy. You can use a screen recorder, and many of these meeting apps that you can use also include screen recording. For example, you can use Big Marker, that has screen recording built in, Zoom, that has screen recording for some limited space, and so on and so forth. You can use these tools to do that. If you're having an in-person meeting, you can use something like this little doohickey. This is a Zoom H4n. You can use that. There's an H2 and an H1n. Doesn't matter. You can buy one of these things or a plethora of other tools and record the meeting so you can have audio notes that'll help remind you about what's going on. And also, and if anything, if all else fails, record using your phone. There's many apps, free and paid, and these things work just as well. You won't get the exact same quality out of a dedicated recorder, but you'll get pretty darn good quality. And if that's just you need some quick audio notes, a phone is more than good enough. Though my personal favorite way is one, I record, and two, I offload the recording of notes to somebody else. It's not always possible, especially if you're starting with your business, but it's great to take a secretary or a note writer with you so they can do the notes for you or record the meeting and then give those audio visual notes to the note recorder and have them transcribe those notes for you. And that's honestly my tip for today. Don't do your own notes for you. Focus on the meeting. Take some quick, important notes, the highlights, record it, and then do your notes after the meeting. That is the absolute best way you'll be able to focus on the conversation, get to the important parts, and then have the actual notes because you recorded it, and then go forward from that. So that's it for today's Morning for Visionaries. If you have any other great tips or tricks or ideas for how to do note-taking while meetings, especially if you're like me and you can't do two things at the same time like that, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys are doing for note-taking. See you on next time.